Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a bunch of updates to share about Donald Trump's coup clowns. First, it's Navarro goes to prison day. Yee! Are you guys all celebrating? If you don't know what I'm talking about, Trump's former trade advisor, Peter Navarro, was ordered to report to federal prison today. He is serving a 4-month prison sentence for contempt of Congress. Last Thursday, he appealed the decision, or he had appealed the decision before last Thursday, but last Thursday, the appeals court denied his request to pause his sentencing while he was appealing the verdict. So on Friday, Navarro filed this Hail Mary pass, an emergency appeal with the Supreme Court. Well, according to Law and Crime News outlet, Chief Justice John Roberts shot Navarro down with a, quote, terse one-paragraph ruling in an atypical in-chambers opinion. So we are finally seeing some real-life consequences for Trump's allies. And speaking of which, pro-Trump attorney and Kraken-related attorney, Stephanie Lambert Gentilla, as I've mentioned before, she usually just goes by Stephanie Lambert, but anyway, she has now been arrested. She is the election-denying attorney who's been indicted for participating in the breach of voting equipment in Michigan. And as I had shared recently, there was a bench warrant issued for her arrest because, number one, she's failed repeatedly to turn over DNA and other items required by the court. And then she also failed to show up for a hearing to discuss those matters. So Lambert Gentilla was arrested on Monday when she was attending a hearing about another matter. She was attending a hearing about her dissemination of confidential Dominion voting systems emails. So she faces possible sanctions over that matter because she obtained those emails while she was representing the Overstock CEO, or former Overstock CEO, Patrick Byrne. He's another election denier. Byrne is being sued by Dominion for defamation, him and everyone else. But according to Lambert Gentilla, she handed over those emails to, quote, law enforcement because she said they contained evidence of a crime. Now, in reality, she handed those Dominion emails over to a fellow pro-Trump conspiracy theorist. It's a guy named Dar Leaf, who just so happens to be a Michigan County sheriff. So law enforcement, yeah, bit of a stretch. But, and here's the thing, if those emails truly contained evidence of a crime, why haven't they been used? Why haven't they been used by Fox News, people like Rudy Giuliani, all these people who are being sued for defamation by Dominion? Why wouldn't they use those emails to get their lawsuits dismissed? We know the answer. So anyway, next up is more bad news for America's defendant. Georgia election workers Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss just filed another lawsuit against Rudy Giuliani. As you all know, Freeman and Moss were awarded a $146 million judgment because they sued him for defamation. He is still out spreading those same lies about them. I mean, it already resulted in a massive judgment, and he just hasn't learned his lesson. So we'll see what happens with that, with this new lawsuit. In the meantime, Moss and Freeman told the court they plan to try to seize some of Rudy Giuliani's assets this week. They said they're concerned that he might try to dispose of assets or hide them. And as of last week, a bunch of his creditors, including Moss and Freeman, had asked the court to order the sale of Giuliani's Florida condo. So that has an estimated value of $3.5 million. They've also asked the court to force him to insure the property because apparently Rudy Giuliani said he can't afford to pay the insurance premiums, which I believe because Florida, they've been hit so hard by climate change. And just like in California, a lot of the insurance companies have been pulling out of the state and the premiums are just sky high. So anyway, his creditors told the court that Giuliani, quote, must exercise due care in protecting his assets and avoiding loss, since these are the assets that he, as a debtor in possession, is holding in trust for his creditors. So the judge scheduled a hearing for that whole thing to discuss all these matters on April 4th. So we'll see what happens with that. It's also been revealed Giuliani is receiving large sums of money to cover his legal expenses. Apparently, there are 2 legal defense funds that have been set up for Rudy Giuliani. They paid a $70,000 retainer to a bankruptcy law firm on Giuliani's behalf. And Giuliani said that the rate for the partners at that law firm ranges from $585 up to $675 an hour. So, according to news outlets, Giuliani's son runs one of these 2 legal funds, but no one seems to know where the money is coming from. No one has a clue who it is that's donating. Now, of course, Freeman and Moss are pressuring the judge to try to uncover the source of these funds because it could be Giuliani himself. As I've shared with you guys in the past, there are people who knew him very well, like Lev Parnas, who was one of his co-conspirators at one point, who has said that Giuliani has put money, hidden money, really, with friends and with family members, that he hid his money because he was in the middle of a divorce. And so he didn't want her to know everything that he had or all he had coming in. And so he would give his friends and family money to hold on for him. And then he would ask for little bits of it at a time to help cover his bills. Now, I spoke with Lev Parnas myself. We were on a Twitter Spaces together, and I asked him about that. And he said, yes, that is 100% true. So that's not what I personally know, but that is what has been reported in the media. That is what Lev Parnas says. So that could be the case. My final update today is about my lumpy pillow man. Yes, Mike Lindell. He is going to curse me out for calling him lumpy pillows. Anyway, Lindell was on Steve Bannon's show recently, and he is hyping so-called new evidence, of course, of election fraud. And he submitted this so-called new evidence to the Supreme Court on behalf of failed Arizona candidates Kari Lake and Mark Fincham.
Well, first of all, Steve, all these tinfoil hats, I have no use for them anymore. Today's the day, everybody. It's over. The Supreme Court case will be filed today. And we're very excited. I've waited for this day for 3 years, and the open door is finally there. You're going to see things you've never seen before, everybody. It's going to be filed. It sounds like later today, could be even towards the early evening. And tomorrow we're going to have a press conference we're setting up online. We'll have all information on that for you later today, Steve. And I'd love to get on your show tomorrow to announce everything to the world. We can go over this new explosive, never been seen. This is going to shock the world, everybody. It's going to shock the world. So I'm very excited.
So it's going to shock the world, guys. Are you as excited as Lindell? Yeah, well, Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Richer, he referred to this as the, quote, same old crazy. And he pointed out that there's, quote, 0% chance the United States Supreme Court decides to spend its very limited time on something so crazy that it got sanctioned to the tune of $100,000 plus at the trial court level. So yeah, a lot of this quote unquote evidence is just recycled garbage that the Arizona Supreme Court refused to accept. And then Lake and Fincham's attorneys were sanctioned for filing a frivolous lawsuit. That's how nothing it was. So Lindell is saying, no, we have new evidence, new, never before seen evidence. So we'll see. But legal experts are saying, even if they have something new, it's unlikely the Supreme Court is going to take the case because they typically won't accept cases that haven't already gone to trial and haven't already been reviewed by lower courts. So I'll see. Well, I will definitely keep you in the loop. I'll let you know what happens. But yeah, more of the same. Boy who cried fraud. Boy who cried election fraud. All right, I'll let you know what happens. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like this video, share it with everyone you know, become a subscriber if you have not, become a donor if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.